Welcome to the Old Classic Car channel, and here a collection of classic BMWs and photos of modern classic cars from BMW. And to begin with, we head to Silverstone and a very orange, very bright W registered BMW M1. This was very much BMW's first supercar with a rear mounted 3.5 litre engine. Next up, a rear view of a 740i. This is the E32 era of 7 Series BMW, and this is a V8 powered car. L registration, so that dates it to about 1993. Somewhat older, down at the Goodwood Revival a little while ago, we've got a BMW 600, a little four-wheeled micro car. Very much in the modern classic BMW era, we have a G registered BMW. I think this is a 325i. This was at a classic car show earlier this year. Down to the NEC Classic Car Show, the National Exhibition Centre down near Birmingham, and a lightly modified 2002 here. Wider arches, big wheels, different seats and a front spoiler. Now to the Capesthorne Hall Classic Car Show, a B registration 635 CSI. This one dates to 1985. This series was known as the E24. That was BMW's internal model code. And here, a wonderfully swoopy BMW 501. These were built from 1952 to 58, initially 6-cylinder only, and then there was the V8 option a little bit later on. The modern classic BMW, this is an E36 series, 3 Series saloon, a 4-door car, looks very original there, not been modified, no big wings or spoilers etc, and that's very good to see. The E33 series, this is an BMW M3 registered E2 DAD, this is an Evolution 2 version of the M3. Here's another beauty spotted down at the Goodwood Revival a little while ago. This is a BMW 507. These were built from 1956 through to 1959. It had a 3.2 litre V8 engine. What a stunning car that is. John Surtees had one of those. Back to the NEC 436 BMW. This is a 1982 Alpina-modified version of the 5 Series, the E12 5 Series, the Alpina B7S Turbo. What a handsome looking machine it is as well. Over to Alton Park, and we have one of the Neue Klasse cars. These were built from 1962 all the way through to 1977. This is probably an 1800. Another 6 Series, Alton Park. This was in the auction area at the Gold Cup, a W registered 635 CSI. Very nice it is too. Alton Park, but a very different event. We've got a demonstration of drifting here and a much modified sideways E36 3 Series being put through its paces on the Alton Park circuit. A really handsome Alpina-modified BMW here. This is an E28 era 5 Series. This one, a 353 DRC, dates to 1984 and it's an Alpina B9 with a 3.5 litre engine. Back down to Silverstone, the first of 2 photos of a wonderful 3 litre CSI. Definitely one of my favourite cars of the 1970s. This one's finished, I think, in Fjord Blue, and it's the E9 series. These coupes were known as the E9. There was the contemporary saloon, there was the E3, an M1 and an M3 in the background as well. Carry on with these classic BMWs. We've got a modern classic here, an 840 coupe. You had 840s had the V8 engine, and you had the 850 as well, which had the V12, the 5 litre V12. You don't see too many of these now. VRK 44X, that's a 7 Series from 1981. This is a 735i, and this series was known internally as the E23. If you've ever seen The World Is Not Enough, you'll see one of these in it, with Pierce Brosnan behind the wheel, 21 MJD. That's a BMW Z8. These are the 4.9 litre V8 engine and all aluminium bodywork. Back to 3 Series, and this is a fairly rare Bauer converted E33 Series BMW. Quite a nice sight, quite a rare car now. This was, I think, before BMW offered their own convertible version. Back to Silverstone, and this was a preview day for one of the Silverstone classics and a race-prepared 635 CSI. Back to the auction area at Alton Park, and we have an E28 5 Series here, 518. This was very much entry-level 518, not even fuel injected. This had a Pierboke carburettor, 4-cylinder. Most of them were 6s, of course, but the 518s were 4. Now this is a real rarity, not the best photo, but this is a Festival of Speed many years ago, BMW 2002, bodied by Frewer, known as the GT4. 2 of these were built in 1969. Head-on view now of one of the 2002s. This one's showing up as stolen now, so it's still around but off the road. Dates to June of 1972. You can still see the registration number etched on the headlights. Do you remember when we all used to do that on our windows? And a slightly later 2002 here. This one's taxed, unlike the previous car, and it was put on the road in April of 1974. This was down at the NEC in the auction area. Carrying on with these classic BMWs, we've got a couple of modern classics here in the shape of 2 Z3s. I ran a car very similar to this. There'll be a photo of that coming up a little bit later. This was at Weston Park Classic Car Show. If you're a fan of old BMWs, please let me know. And a wonderful 3-litre CSL now. This was spotted several years ago at the Donington Park Historic Festival. I do love these cars. I think they are just fantastic. There's a rear 3/4 view of the same car. What an amazing car that is, known as the Batmobile back in the day. Another road-going car here. This was spotted at Alton a little bit earlier this year. We've got an E36, a 4-door car, modified by A.C. Schnitzer. Quite a rare machine that is. Over to the Revival, another example of the 4-door Neue Klasse car. This one obviously race prepared. Next BMW is quite a rare car now. This is a BMW 700. Little rear engine car. You don't see too many of these, especially in this country. This one was on the club stand at the NEC Classic Car Show. Also at the NEC, but I think a different holding of the event, is this wonderful 3-litre CSL version of the E9 Coupe. Up for sale, big money, but what a great looking car. Back to Weston Park, we've got a convertible version of the 3 Series, the E30 3 Series range. Now this is a handsome machine, the first of the M5s. This is the E28 5 Series BMW, and what a beautiful car that is. I really think these are just handsome, understated cars. Really classy car. That's a Silverstone, a rear 3/4 view of a much modified 2002 race car. And then the barn find classic car area down at the NEC. We've got a very dusty Neue Klasse BMW, probably a 1600 or an 1800. And the 5 Series, this model, this is the E34. This replaced the E28 that we've seen already. This particular car is a 525i, so mid-range, and dates to November 1989. There would be a collection of BMW photographs without an Isetta or 2. And here we've got a 3-wheeler on a club stand, on one of the 3-wheeler club stands down at the NEC. Very appropriate registration, 300 BMW. This is from 1959. Over to Alton Park in the public car park area, we've got another example of the M3, the E30 M3. Very nice car indeed, widened arches, slightly shallower rear screen. There were various signs of the M3 version. Another bubble car here, 70 UMC, and this one also dates to 1959, April 1959 to be precise. About a third of the way through of these classic BMWs. Over in the NEC now again, we have an L registered, so what's that, about 1972 or early 1973, 3-litre CSL L for lightweight, slightly lighter panels and so on. Three cars now seen at the Festival of Speed many years ago. We've got an early 3 Series racer at the top left, and the other two are based on the 2002, which preceded the E21 3 Series. Over in Portugal several years ago we spotted this slightly faded but very sound looking 2002 up for sale, Para Vonda. The little sign says hanging off the door there, for sale. Wonder what happened to that. Nice wheels as well. Back to Weston Park and a 3 Series coupe, an E36 3 Series coupe. This has the 2.8 litre engine, so it's a 328i, dating to August of 1997. So quite a late car in this particular collection. And over in Portugal again, we spotted from a distance this super rare BMW 700 coupe. I think it was for sale. You drive around and you often see lines of old cars for sale just at the side of the road, and I think that was the case here. But what happened to it? Earlier this year at Alton Park we spotted this 3 Series Touring, or the estate version, parked up in the public car park, so I had to grab a quick photo of that one. Two 2002s now on the BMW Car Club stand. One in the foreground, very much under restoration. Looks like the body shell has just been shot blasted. Bit of tin worm at the bottom of the windscreen pillar there. Another very handsome 5 Series. This is the early E12. You can tell that by the horizontal grills on the rear quarter there, just behind the back door. The M530T is a 520i with various Alpina bits added to it. 6-cylinder car, of course. Back to Portugal again. Another slightly forlorn looking 2002. I wonder what happened to this car. Again, very faded paint but very sound bodywork, so hopefully it went on to be restored. This was probably in about 2007. Now you don't see too many of these. A mate of mine's dad had one of these back in the day. The E3 Saloon MJC 479L. That's a 73 car, early 1973, and it's the 2500, the entry level if you like. Side view of a 2002 now at Race Retro a few years back. Drive TR behind that. I like those wheels, but who made those? If you can let me know in the comments, I'd appreciate that, thanks. Still lots of old BMWs to come. An evening meeting now, and we've got AFA 552Y, that's one of the E28 5 Series. It's a 525i, so again, mid sort of range if you like. This one dates to August 1982. Silverstone in the pit area, and we've got an ex-BTCC Tim Harvey Labatt sponsored M3 race car. These sound fantastic. One of our old family BMWs. We've had various cars between us, me, dad and my brother. This is one of dad's. This was an E38 7 Series with a 4.4 litre V8 engine. Two photos now of a Z1. These are only built from 1989 to 91, and they have plastic body panels, a 2.5 litre 6-cylinder engine, fiberglass bonnet, boot and roof. Around 8,000 of them were built, but the unique feature of these was how the door slides down into the sill area. You don't have hinge doors in the conventional way, they slide down out of sight. All very clever, but didn't really catch on as an idea. Okay, another very sunny classic car show here, and two photos of a rare Alpina-modified 3 Series and E21 3 Series. Very distinctive Alpina wheels on this particular car. Rear view of the same car now. Twin pipe, so that I think signifies a 6-cylinder car, and in this case it was based on the 323i, the 2.3 straight 6 engine. Carrying on with these classic BMWs, we're down at Race Retro, and various demonstrations were being performed by rally cars, and this is a 2002 rally car. M registration, so late 73 or early 1974 this particular car dates to. Two photos now of a much modified E9 coupe. This is quite a stunning car. It's like I say, spotted at the Cholmondeley Pageant of Power in the public car park area. This was a few years ago. Rear 3/4 view of this car, and the front view as well. Subtly modified, quite a few changes. Dates to about January 1972. It's got a 3.5 litre engine. Another BMW Z8 here. Back to one of the family BMWs for a moment. Here we've got an N registered 7 Series. This was Dad's. This was a 750iL with a 5.4 litre V12 engine. Very smooth car indeed. To Car Fest a few years ago at Alton Park, we've got another example of the BMW M1, vibes of the old Pro Car Racing series with this particular slightly modified example. Side-on view from a distance of an E28 5 Series. I don't know a great deal about this one, and it's very similar to one that Dad had back in the day, same colour, very similar wheels, but I don't think his car is still around anymore, sadly. Back to Portugal, and as we were driving around, we sort of screeched to a halt and spotted and took a quick photo of this BMW 1602. Wonder what happened to that. Did it ever get restored? Seems to be surrounded by dead Renaults. Back to Alton Park on a test day in a rear three-quarter view of a BMW 1800 Ti. It helpfully sets on the rear panel there. Another one of the Neue Klasse car, if you like. Another classic car show and another classic BMW H372 GPM. Another 3 Series in E30, a two-door car. This one's sawned at the moment, it's a 318i and dates to October of 1990. Alton Park, one of the Gold Cups, and in the public parking area we spotted this M3. Very nice too. You can see the shallower rear window and a different raised boot lid on this particular version, and the flared arches of course. 3 wheels on this wagon, another example of the classic BMW I've bubble car 597 AEL. The Alton Park paddock, and we've got a 2000 version of the Neue Klasse, a race car. If you could see the front of it, it would have horizontal rectangular headlamps as opposed to the circular lamps on the smaller engined examples. Same angle, very different car. This is a 325i, and it's quite unusual being on steel wheels with plastic wheel trim still, not the usual alloy wheels. This was actually a very original looking car. Back down to the NEC, we've got another of these shark nose 6 Series coupes here. Really handsome machine. Another classic BMW, this time a D-registered 5 Series, an E28 5 Series D731 EWK. This is 1987 520i, 2 litre straight 6 fuel injected engine. There's one of my old 750i's, I had a pair of those. That's mine on the left, last seen in a Russian breaker's yard. And to the right, an Alpina-modified version of the similar car, but no longer registered, so is that car still around? Really nice cars. Green metallic, 2002 here. This is an N-Reg car, so late 1974 or early 1975. Got a race prepared M3 now here. This was seen at the Alton Park circuit at speed. Let me know in the comments if you're into your classic BMWs, or if you recognise any of these. Maybe you run a classic or a modern classic now. Down to Goodwood, 888 JMT. This is the BMW 502. This was the V8. This one dates to 1956. It was an evolution of the 501, the black 501 that we saw earlier on, which was also at Goodwood. Taking part in the historic rally, the Tour of Cheshire, a few years ago. We've got this 1973, 2002 on mini-light wheels and CB lamps on the front. Another example of the very desirable Z8, and these are lovely looking cars, these are. Back to Portugal for a moment, and another example of the BMW 700. Looks like a bit of a project in waiting, a very dusty car, so hopefully it went on to be restored because it looks like quite a sound car. Another near-modern classic camp, and we've got an A registered early 1980s 3 Series here, A110 SUU. This is a 323i, dates to August of 1980. Another BMW M1 here. You don't see these too often now. Still plenty of these old BMWs to come. Next up, another 5 Series. The body kit on this one makes me think that it could be an M535i. This sat between the standard 535i and the M5. This one dates to May of 1987. It's a rare beast. This is a Bauer convertible version of the E21 3 Series HCG721W. It's a 323i from 1980. Probably the latest car to appear in this particular collection, and I think probably one of the last good looking 3 Series. This is an M3 based on the E46, the coupe. Those modern BMWs do nothing for me at all. And another example here of the 600 with a very appropriate registration number on this particular car, the 4-door little micro car. Cars like this and the 700 really kept BMW afloat in the sort of 50s and into the 60s. This was at an evening meet just a few weeks ago, rear 3/4 view of the 635 CSI. Really, really nice car from 1980. And there's a front view of the same car, a bright orange Saab 99 behind it. But yeah, this was a lovely, lovely example of the breed. Yeah, that A95 Westminster alongside was also pretty eye-catching as well. Anyway, so let's stick to BMWs. Now we're over in the Llangollen Motor Museum in North Wales. We've got NDY 103, another example of the little 3-wheeled Isetta. Really good little museum. I do plan to visit that again sometime soon, hopefully. Someone's having a bit of fun here in an E33 series. This was at Alton Park, H135 ATO. It's currently sawned, so it's off the road, and it's a 318i, dating to August of 1990. Another 3 litre CSL. Beautiful cars. Apologies if you're fed up of seeing all these photos of CSLs and E9s in general, but I do think they're a great looking car. Talking of E9s and CSLs, we've got a Batmobile car here, one equipped with all the race spec spoilers and so on. What a bit of kit that is. There's a rear 3/4 view for good measure. This is L-Reg, so this dates to about late 1972. A trio of photos at a fairly early Goodwood meeting. We've got a couple of BMW photos there on the left of the 501 or 502, and on the right a 507. Like I say, John Surtees, the racing driver, used to run one of those. Back to more normal cars, E28 5 Series, E554 COO. This is a 525 from 1987. Between us, my dad, me and my brother, we ran quite a few of these 5 Series. Rally Prepared 2002 here, being put through its paces. This is a K-Reg car from late 71 or early 1972. Like I was saying, the family has had quite a mixture of BMWs over the years. This we spotted parked up in Bridgnorth just a few months ago, early this year, an L-Reg 2002. Looks really nice on refurbished alloy wheels. In the paddock area, back at Alton Park, we've got a well-used but surviving L-Reg 5 Series Touring, the Estates. This is the E34 series car. And at the same venue, a race-prepared 4-door E36 3 Series. I had a ride in something very similar to that around Silverstone a few years back, and it was quite exciting. Another of these 635 CSI coupes. And another one, C2 PPR. There's a 2002 alongside it. Still quite a few classic BMWs to go. Thanks for sticking with the video if you've made it this far. Another 7 Series, another E32 7 Series, and the narrow grille tells us that this is a 6-cylinder car, A15 RWM, and it's a 735i, 3.5 litre, dating to March of 1989. Now, there is a video on the channel of having a ride in this particular car, an ex-Roland Ratzenberger touring car racer. The noise was something else. I can see why it's got total hearing protection on the front of the bonnet. It was a very noisy but very exciting car to have a ride in. Now over to Sleip Airfield, and this is the 2.8 litre Z3 that I had a few years ago. That was a really nice car, a bit too low. The exhaust would often ground out on things. It had been lowered by someone previously. Another E9 here, a really nice car, very stylish indeed. All body colour all over, painted roof, really, really smart car. The rear view of a similar colour car, but this one's got a vinyl roof to NEH, so it's another E9 3 litre car from December 1974. So this would have been rival, what, to maybe the Jaguar XJS or the SLC Mercedes and so on. A rally prepared E30 here. This is a fairly early car from the early 1980s, being given some welly. And in the Portuguese Car Museum, alongside a Lamborghini Countach no less, we spotted another example of the BMW M1. Looking slightly forlorn in a parking area not too far from here is this Neue Klasse. This would have been a posh car in its day, the 2000 Ti Lux, looking a little bit derelict and a little bit sorry for itself. Whether anything will ever happen to it, will it ever be restored, I don't know, but you can see the rectangular lamps that the 2000 versions of the Neue Klasse had as standard fitment. Looking a little bit sorry for itself. I must go and see if it's still there. Looking a little bit happier though is G215SBV, another E30 two-door saloon. It's a 318i, dating to June of 1990. This was at the Cape Thorne Hall Classic Car Show not very long ago. Another one of the lesser spotted E3s and a 2500. They also did the 2800, 3 litre and a 3.3 Li, which was sort of very much top of the tree, but this is an automatic 2.5 litre car. Down to the Haynes Motor Museum, we've got another 3 litre CSL, very swish machine. This is in the Red Room, unsurprisingly. The rear three-quarter view of another O2, a BMW 2002, and registered. That makes it late 74, early 1975. You can see the little Zybart rust-proofing sticker in the rear window as well. Some family BMWs here. There's an E34 Touring, top left, and we've got a silver 535i that Dad ran for several years, and the bottom right a 325i that my brother had. We went to go and buy that, and when we checked the oil, there was no oil on the dipstick at all. This was spotted at a local auto test run by a motor club. This is the compact version of the E36. These are quite popular because they've got a simpler rear setup. The suspension is from the E30, if I remember correctly. A few more 2002s here. We've got a standard car on the left and two examples of the rare 2002 Cabriolet, a red car and a black car, which were both seen at the Tatton Park Classic Car Show a long, long time ago. Talking of 2002s, we've got a 1971 standard two-door saloon here, EOE 55K. Still a few more old BMWs to come. This was at an evening meet down in Shropshire, a 3 litre CSL obviously in bright silver. What a sharp looking car that is. There is a brochure review for the CSL elsewhere on the channel. I bought some brochures from someone that used to own one. Down to race retro, we've got a race prepared E21 3 Series BMW here, XYU684T. End of the road for these two, sadly. Two E30 3 Series. There's a standard road car saloon on the left and a touring estate, a 325i touring in the middle there. CC points to it being Welsh registered, but it ended its days in the Cheshire scrapyard. Another 3 litre CSL race car here. This one's been uprated to 3.5 litres, Group 2 spec I believe. These raced back in the 1970s and were a phenomenal sight up against the V12 XJ coupes. This was on a classic road run that took part and passed through town just a few years ago, a G-Reg 318i, a two-door E30 3 Series BMW, being pursued by an MGB and hot on the heels of a Renault Clio. Now, I wanted to find a photo of one of these and eventually I did so. This is the 2000 Touring, or the 2002 Touring, the hatchback version of the 2002. Really rare sight. It took me ages to find this photo. Back to Carfest, another 3 litre CSL in a very lurid shade of greeny yellow. It's an R-Edge car, so quite a late one, from late 76 or early 1977. Amazing car. Just a few more to go. We've got a rally prepared 3 Series in E21 3 Series Cabriolet, another Bauer converted 3 Series. This was over in Ruthin in North Wales, and there is a video about that elsewhere on the channel. And an M3 here, another standard road car, E30 M3, really nice. I think that's one of the Evo cars, the Evolution cars. And finally, a photo of a 2002 down at the Haynes Motor Museum with a reflection in the mirror behind. And that white 2002 rounds out this collection of 130 photos of classic BMWs and, well, modern classic BMWs, if you like, all post-war cars. Thank you very much for watching. Please take a look around the rest of the Old Classic Car channel while you're here, because there's loads of old car content on here now. Let me know in the comments which are your favourite BMWs, or even if you don't like BMWs at all, please let me know why. More videos along very, very soon, so bye for now.